everybody, I am back. I think it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday night and my children just went to bed. It's about 20 of 9. And yes, I'm wearing a face mask and I'm drinking wine because in the coronavirus zombie apocalypse pandemic that we're living in now, the rules are out the window. So we're back and we're gonna be building our opera cake. So you saw me bake the sheets of Jaconde, which are here. This should be slightly browned on the edges, otherwise they should have no color, and they are very thin and beautiful. Here we have our soft ganache, which we made in the last tutorial. Here we have some melted coating chocolate, which I'll talk about in a sec. This is coffee simple syrup, and this is chocolate miroir glaze. We're gonna talk about all of this stuff, but I wanna start doing. So I want my opera cake to be 4 layers of Jaconde, 4 layers of soft ganache, 4 layers of buttercream. And then on top of that is gonna have the chocolate miroir glaze that you could also make shiny glaze. So what we wanna do, because I baked 2 half-sheet pans of Jaconde, I wanna measure it with a ruler and cut it in half. So I can see that it is about 16 inches in length. And I'm going to find out where half of it is, which looks about right, and cut it. Cool. And then I'm going to do the same with my other sheet because I want 4 layers. Okay. My husband works overnights. He works at a hospital and my kids are sleeping. So this is a very good time for me to get some peace and quiet and bake. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my parchment paper off. There we go. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is coat my bottommost layer in chocolate. Melted chocolate or coating chocolate. The reason I'm doing that is because it gives the cake itself a more stable base and it prevents it from getting soggy. Okay. All right. So I melted my chocolate before I turned on the video camera. And you want a really thin layer because you don't want it to be hard to cut through. So in case you're wondering, I'm wearing a Kiehl's Deep Pore Cleansing Face Mask. Gotta keep, you know, young at heart and young in appearance. Great. So I'm gonna use this for my chocolate decorations as well. So what I'm gonna do is put it in my warming drawer and leave it there. Now, the same is for my miroir glaze. This recipe is from Chef ISO, I-S-O. It's a wonderful website with a lot of different recipes. I provided my students with a shiny glaze recipe, but I didn't have the pouring fondant that the recipe called for, so I used this recipe instead. It's really a wonderful fail-proof recipe. It has powdered gelatin in it and everything, and it is on blackboard for you guys to see. But I'm gonna stick it in my warming drawer as well because I want it to stay nice and liquid so when I pour it on my opera cake. All right. Now I want this to harden and firm up, because if I turn it over and it's melted, obviously it's gonna stick to whatever is melted. So in the meantime, here's the buttercream. It's the Italian meringue buttercream, the 1, 2, 3 method. As a reminder, it has 1 pound of egg whites in it, 2 pounds of sugar, and 3 pounds of butter. Traditionally, opera cake is made with coffee buttercream, but I didn't want to add regular coffee. I usually add a coffee paste, which results in a beautiful flavor. So instead, I'm going against the grain and using what I have in my kitchen, which happens to be delicious Nutella. So I just added Nutella to taste, and I am going to flavor my gorgeous buttercream Nutella flavored. As you see, I melted the Nutella for a few seconds in the microwave, and I'm just folding it and incorporating it in to give it a really beautiful Nutella flavor. Great, perfect. So I'm going to flip over. You can't see me. Here we go. I'm flipping over my first layer of Jaconde with the chocolate. And the first thing I'm gonna do is brush coffee syrup on my first layer of Jaconde. Now I'm going to put this syrup in a smaller container because you don't want crumbs in your vessel of coffee syrup. If I keep dipping this pastry brush on the cake and into the syrup, there's a chance that you'll contaminate your whole container of syrup. You don't want to do that. So I am brushing my Jaconde with coffee syrup. How did I make this syrup? I took hot coffee, and then I used 2 cups of coffee. Then I used 2 cups of sugar, and I brought the mixture to a boil, and then I cooled it, and then you have coffee syrup. It's better than, you know, doing 50% water and 50% sugar and then adding coffee. You could just omit the water. So you see that I used 2 scoops of soft ganache, and the soft ganache is beautiful. It should be smooth and silky and well, it sort of looks like Nutella as well. The texture of Nutella, but it is not Nutella, it's soft ganache. Okay, and you again want to make a really thin layer because this cake has 4 layers to it, and you don't want it to be too thick and filling, because then you won't be able to cut it and it will smush all over the place, and that's just bad news. Great, so I have my first layer of soft ganache, and then I am going to put a layer of buttercream. That looks good. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 scoopies. And I am spreading my Nutella buttercream on, and I go in one direction first, and then I spread it out Now you could build this in a rectangular stainless steel frame, which will ensure a more flat product, but I don't have a stainless steel frame in my home. But when I worked for a bakery, we built a lot of things in rings and frames because it ensures a more consistent product. Okay, cool. So I have my Jaconed, well first my coating chocolate, then I have my Jaconed, then I'm gonna repeat this 4 times. I have my coffee simple syrup, and then I have my layer of soft ganache, and then my layer of Nutella buttercream, and then I'm going to repeat. This is gonna be delicious. This cake is really cool because when you cut into it, it's very distinct, the layers, and it really does look beautiful, and it's very impressive to people that appreciate fine pastries. Should invest in an aerial camera or contraption to hold a camera above me. Now, I'm trying to get to the edge. However, I know that I'm going to be trimming the edges of this cake, so they are going to be perfectly square, so I'm not really concerned. What comes next? The coffee simple syrup and a sip of wine. Work faster, Diane. So when my children are here, they sing songs and tell jokes. I apologize for the lack of comedic routine. I'm really not funny. Great. Beautiful. Okay, so I have now my 4 layers. Great. I'm gonna soak it, my last guy. Hello, last guy. Now I am going to put just a layer of buttercream on the top. And then I am going to chill it because I want to make my cake beautiful and firm, and the buttercream cold and hard before I put warm chocolate miroir glaze on it. And I think that I am going to cut it to make it a square and then have like 8 little petit four pieces, because this can be served as a large cake, and also it could be served as a petit four. And I'm just gonna see where I need to add. I'm gonna cut the sides off too anyway, but I do want to make the top smoother. So I'll add just 1 more scoop of buttercream to do that. And you could redistribute the buttercream where you think it really needs it. Cool. Okay, so I am really happy with how this looks so far. Here you have your opera cake. It is 4 layers and it's about 1.5 inches tall at the end of the day. So now what I'm gonna do is stick it in the fridge and have it firm up a little bit.